Hello, everyone. My name is Kowsar Hassan,
And my name is Edith.
and we're both MSW candidates from the University of Washington Tacoma campus. Our topic today is focusing on implementing trauma-informed care training for teachers and school staff members during this pandemic. As we're aware, the pandemic has robbed the sense of security and safety of many children, and it has the attributes that qualify it as a traumatic experience. Trauma happens when someone feels as though their life and the safety of those who they love is at risk. We wanted to focus on this topic because we both work with youth and have seen the negative impact COVID has had on children emotionally, physically, and psychologically.
For most of my social work career, I have worked with youth in a variety of settings. I've had the opportunities to work in the child welfare, school, and mental health fields. I have seen that the pandemic has affected young people in negative ways. I was very interested in how we could help youth, not just in their academics, but in their overall mental health well being, which is very important, and I think it is something that should be looked at and worked on.
As a school social worker, my training and education has given me the knowledge and ways to identify signs of trauma and how to respond in an empathetic manner to foster safety, resilience, mitigate the impact, and support healing. However, teachers are the first responders working with students in the classroom directly and need to learn the emotional responses of children when they face trauma and how disasters impact students and how these emotions may present in the classroom and impact their learning overall. Students have transitioned back to school carrying a lot. As we're aware, COVID-19 prompted abrupt school closures and a sudden transition to distance learning. Students have transitioned back to school from family households that have faced unemployment, loss of health insurance, loss of a loved one, food and housing insecurity, reduced social support and contact, domestic violence, family separations, mental health problems, and other challenges that have created substantial traumatic stress.
Our stakeholders that we interviewed who work in the kindergarten through 12th grade education setting have shared that students have come back to school with various mental health needs and behavioral problems. The number of students referred to mental health agencies due to severe anxiety and symptoms of depression have increased. They have noticed that there was an increase in disruptive behaviors that they observed in classrooms. Some of these disruptive behaviors were students eloping from classroom, trashing bathrooms, social media bullying, physical fights, anxiety, and anxiety breakdowns. These behaviors were not as prevalent before the COVID-19 pandemic, but due to the stressful effects of the pandemic, more of these disruptive behaviors continue to arise.
We have noticed that there was a need for school staff members to develop trauma-informed skills in order to support students with various mental health needs as they transition back to school.
Our intervention is to conduct a 2-week training program that focuses on trauma-informed care in classrooms with school staff members that work in the K through 12 education setting. This training would take place at the school, so it would be accessible to all staff. The training will emphasize how trauma impacts the brain and the developmental milestones for children, youth, and teens, and how teachers can use resiliency to help students learn coping skills to overcome adversities. Our mission is that we want to create classrooms that prioritize social and emotional skills to create an environment that makes students feel safe, welcomed, and supported. Our outcomes for this intervention is that we hope to have increased building skills that help support students' social and emotional health. We also want school staff to have an improved ability to work with students using a trauma-informed approach.
The theories that will help support and influence becoming trauma-informed in schools are the strength perspective and the resiliency theory. The strength perspective is centering the strengths and resources of our youth, their communities, and environments instead of focusing solely on their problems or solutions. Resilience theory refers to the ability to adapt successfully and bounce back from adversity. The resiliency theory is helping students overcome the adversities of the pandemic by creating an environment that teaches them coping skills and promotes self-efficacy.
In order to determine how the trauma-informed approach is helping students, our evaluation tools will consist of pre, post tests, and evaluating administrative data. We will conduct pre-test and post-test surveys to assess if school staff members demonstrate increased knowledge and awareness of trauma and how it impacts the brain. We will also evaluate administrative data on suspension and discipline referrals to indicate if there is a decreased punitive response.
We want students to feel supported and cared in our schools. In addition, when we have a trauma-informed approach in schools, there's a safe and welcoming climate that students can feel. We want students to have a routine, minimize the chance of triggers or re-traumatization. Most importantly, we want students to feel empowered in their day-to-day at school and how to take care of their mental health and know how to take care of their mental health. We want to thank you for listening to our presentation of trauma-informed training in schools. We hope that you'll consider using this intervention to help students succeed in school. Please feel free to follow up with us through our email if you have any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.